Welcome into the party on Broad. I'm your host, Freddie Burns, with my co-host, Chris Dives, and we have an exciting show for you tonight. We have Ben Simmons versus Joel Embiid, part one. Ben's third time here, but part one. Well, one time he was in the stands, but technically part one, Embiid versus Simmons. That's exciting stuff to talk about. The NBA trade deadline's popping up, so we're going to get into me and Dives' trade machines and one trade we would do right now to help the Sixers. Also, we have a fun trivia. We're going to start doing a weekly trivia. This week, I'm going to try to stump Dives. And we're going to have people commenting, and you're welcome to answer as well. We're going to go back and forth every week. And then, of course, the NFC Championship game. The Philadelphia Eagles host the San Francisco 49ers. I couldn't be more jacked.
Let's go, baby. But before we get into the Philadelphia 76ers, a quick rest in peace farewell poem for the Dallas stinking Cowboys. Here we go. Fake America's team strikes again. The hearts of Dallas fans are utterly torn. Another NFC Championship game absence since the legend Jalen Hurts was born. Dak Prescott continues to be so freaking overrated, tied for the NFL league worst at 15 interceptions created. 2 horrible interceptions against the Niners he quit. And just like his performance off the field, him and his girlfriend, Natalie Buffett, have split. Dak Prescott is grossly overrated. His decision-making versus San Fran was dirty. Their season comes to an official end to some random dude named Brock Purdy. The Cowboys' most immovable object, like Dak's $40 million per year owed, the Cowboys are now faced with an impossible situation to own. It's time to admit he does not have it. After 7 years, it's hard not to see the warts, especially during the 2022 season when he got punked by Jalen freaking Hurts. America's team just doesn't quite do it. A team of way more tears than jeers. Just 4 playoff wins in their last 13 games over the last 20 stinking years. You suck, Dallas.
Bravo, Dives. You should get that published. That was like a novel poem, man. You just got done telling me you don't have any free time. You're writing novel book poems. That was amazing. Great job. And quickly, I just want to piggyback off that, a quick moment of silence. You trash Cowboy fans and trash Giant fans, I don't want to forget you as well. It's over. It's over again for all of you. It's all done. Once again, you're irrelevant. I told you your Giants were going to get whacked. I told you they stink. You'd have a coach. That's all you have. The rest is they stink. Cowboys, it's the same stuff every single year. We know what's going to happen. I've been tweeting it forever. In Dak, we trust. And as Eagles fans, we want you to continue to support Dak and Daniel Jones and make sure, keep defending them. Get your franchise to sign these guys to 10-year deals. We welcome the both of them in the NFC East forever.
Oh, yeah.
See yous. Now you can root for the 49ers because we're going to beat them too.
Bye.
But before we get into, Daniel Gray, anyone listening, please share this out. Like that subscribe button or smash that subscribe button. Like the page, share it out. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. Before we get into the Eagles, we got to talk. Last night, Ben Simmons versus Joel Embiid was what I wanted. Not 100%, but like Joel Embiid made it a point. He was emotional, and you could tell he was making it a point every time down the floor to attack Ben Simmons. Yeah. Harden was throwing some elbows on him. One point, ran him over forward, got an offensive foul. PJ Tucker was taking shots at him. Ben Simmons, and I apologize for any person I ever defended Ben for. I was so in the wrong. It was so wrong to me. He has regressed so much as well. He stinks. He did not play for the final 9 minutes of the game. And I asked my buddy why, and they're like, they always take him out because he's unplayable in the fourth quarter. Things that Simmons haters, I don't want to call them haters, they were right, said the whole time in Philly, get him off the floor. He stinks. They were right. I can't believe we got James Harden for Ben Simmons.
Yeah. Let's start. I have some good and bad. Kevin says, are the Sixers going to be making any moves? We're going to get to that really soon. But the main takeaway, you start with Joel Embiid. The dude was locked in from the jump. He handled the Nets in the post, established himself down low. He was not settling for jumpers. He played with a lot of physicality, which we don't often see from Joel Embiid. He was quick to the basket. I loved him channeling his inner Generation X, especially when Kevin Durant attacked him after the game. That was terrific. But I gotta say, man, I hate to be the Debbie Downer of the podcast, but at the end of the day, the biggest concern in the big picture here was the lack of the Sixers defense, man. Like, that's my take. Giving up 130 plus points to a team without Kevin Durant, with basically one shot creator, is not exactly a good look. The Sixers gave up 35 of 42 inside the paint. They got abused. They lacked discipline on defense. The lineup of Melton, Maxey, Harrison, and Embiid had a defensive rating of 129.6, man. And that lineup is a negative 0.3 on the court over the last 10 games together. I know it's just one game, way too small sample size, but that's what we're talking about here. You just mentioned Ben Simmons not being able to play to close games. The Maxey, Harden, backcourt, there's defensive deficiencies. We got to talk about it, man. That's what this is about. It's about getting into that conference finals, and that is my big concern. Their ability to get just stumped with zone defense, and it really all hinges on Embiid and Harden, Tobias Harris, that star power to take us to the top.
I couldn't agree more about how bad the defense was. I mean, I was tweeting about the Ben thing, and people are like, at this point, it was Seth Curry for James Harden, because Seth Curry went off last night. He got everything he wanted, though, even layups, and he missed some. But he just got open looks all over the floor, and we continue to see guard play beat the Sixers, even in the wins.
All time.
The guards are scoring, and when we get into the playoffs and we go against a Boston Celtics team that has great guard play, they're long, they're athletic, they move the ball around, it's a huge concern. And I agree, Dibes, the defense, it was bad. And there's a few positions I think we're both going to address when we get into this trade machine. But it was very, very concerning. And Doc Rivers, man, we give him credit the last show, and I'm gonna knock him down this show. Like, what are you doing? Like, why late in quarters are we just throwing the quarters away? The Sixers are up 13 with 2 minutes to go in the third, and I literally say to my buddies, and you think out loud, all right, let's just close. All you gotta do is close out the quarter here. Close it out. Like, even up 10, you can give up even up. So what happens? He subs everyone out. Montrezl Harrell comes in. It's Maxey, who's not a defender. Like, if we were down, I could see going that lineup because we're trying to score, maybe get a spark. But we need to play defense. We're up 13, Doc. And Ben Simmons goes on his only run. The unaggressive Ben Simmons, who averages nothing this year points-wise, goes on the attack because he sees how foolish this lineup is, and literally drops like 8 or 9 points in a row, a foul and one to end the quarter. And now we got a 6-point game. Doc, what are we doing here? Like, there's no reason to have. You should have Embiid, Harden, or Tobias, just like you said. One of those three should be on the floor at all times with a Maxey, with a Melton. It should never be all of them off. I don't get it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Achilles heel of the Sixers will be teams that have guards that can handle the rock and penetrate, dribble, get around their defenders, and penetrate. That is going to be the only really team, and you mentioned them, is Boston, that might cause them problems. And I don't want to be too much of a Debbie Downer because they're playing their ass off. Like, they're among the top, arguably the top team in the East right now, if not the team. So they're playing well, and that's a big piece, or a big compliment to James Harden, who has been sensational. It's nice to see Tyrese Maxey getting some of that confidence back, that swag. It's so big for this team. But Doc needs to continue to experiment with some of these lineups, and that's really going to be the ticket in finding out which ones will have success in the playoffs. So we'll see, man. We'll see.
I agree being on the Debbie Downer. But like, it's like we've seen this before. That's why we've done this show before. We know what happens when we get to the playoffs. Yep. And even Harden was so resilient. I loved him last night. Huge threes, made a steal. But like a couple of those were, responding to lazy passes of him throwing these lobs in the middle. Like, what do we do? Like they're converging on Embiid. Like you don't throw bounce passes to a 7-foot center. Like what are we doing here? I will say, and you'll be happy to know this, PJ Tucker had the highest plus minus.
I'm just
hold on, but
I'm ecstatic.
But he did not play the entire second half. so there you have it.
I am not.
He had 4 points early, so we have holes.
We're really celebrating 4 points. Awesome. I understand it's not about points, but oh man,
yeah, 4 points early. I don't know what he finished with, but the funny part is the reason is because they were up so much and he sat there. Yeah. That's why I say that. So how do we fix the holes?
Let's do it. All right. Let's move on to our next topic of the night. The NBA trade deadline is coming up.
Feb 9.
Let's deep dive into a big trade for each of us for the Philadelphia 76ers. Go through our trade machines. Lead us off, Freddie. What is your one move you would do to fix the Sixers or make a move at the trade deadline?
Last night when I saw Ben Simmons attack Montrezl Harrell, I love the guy. I met him personally. He's bad. I can't. I went on a few pregame shows with you, excited about Harrell and all this stuff. F my life, have to root for the Eagles and Chiefs because I'm a Steelers fan. At least you're not a Giants or Cowboys fan.
Yeah, we'll accept it. We'll allow it.
But so here's my trade. We need protection at the rim when Joel Embiid gets off the floor. And I was searching around and I found an old injured name some process people will love. How about Nerlens Noel returns to Philadelphia in the role that he always should have been, a backup center. That's what he's always been. I always thought he was that. I took flack for that while he was here. He's nursing an injured knee, but when he does play, he's semi-productive. You probably get 10 to 15 minutes out of him. And to trade him away, we'd have to give up Daniel House. This trade's successful. Check it out. Daniel House, what's he doing? Get him off the floor. Every time he's on the floor, there's a problem. Jaden Springer is a freaking bust. Like, the quicker we admit this, we'll know. Maybe we can sell the Pistons on his youth. He's Zaire Smith all over again. Probably less scoring. Get Springer out of here. And now the one everybody loves. Put Paul Reed in for Montrezl Harrell. Paul Reed has proven time and time again he's going to be a solid guy to give energy, but he's not. I just don't see it. I don't think he's anything worth keeping. He's not. He's on a 1-year deal here. You give the Detroit Pistons an expiring contract and bring home Nerlens Noel while opening up 2 roster spots. Dibs, how you feeling with that trade?
I would do it yesterday. How fitting would it be if the Sixers made it to the conference finals and you've got a tandem of Embiid and Noel. I was always team Noel over Okafor. That would be like just magical. I would love to see those two kind of revving each other up. I think that has a lot of potential. I'm all in for that move.
It would be great. It would be nostalgic too.
It would, man.
Process complete. Hickey's first pick comes back, and
we
win a title.
A big piece of like whether people don't want to admit it or not, like with that Ben Simmons move, like having another guy like that, Ben Simmons absence, getting a guy like Noel that can deflect passes, getting those passing lanes as well, which is one of his best assets. Like, the Sixers getting back to scoring points off turnovers would be huge for this team. So I'm all in.
Dives, let's bring up your trade here, which you can go into it now.
Yeah, there it is. So almost a similar trade here. I'm moving Daniel House Jr. and my guy Paul Reed, Mubal Paul. I apologize. I'm so sorry. But the guy I'm targeting here is my man Cameron Johnson. I mean, I would target Isaiah Joe if he was available, because a guy that can jack up threes with zero hesitation would be nice as well.
He used to be on the Sixers, Isaiah Joe, right?
Oh, was he? Huh.
He was my breakout guy for this year, Dives, on our show through summer camp and everything. They're killing me getting rid of him.
He'd be perfect. He'd be perfect on this team. That's exactly what we need. But yeah, Cameron Johnson just returned to the court. You look at Phoenix, like they need on-ball shot creators, but they also need added depth on the wing, and I think House and Reed would do that. Cameron Johnson, 6'8", 3-and-D combo forward. You look at Mikal Bridges, he's kind of redundant, and especially with Bridges getting a contract in the very near future, they probably need to make a move and get value for Cam Johnson. He's played the majority of his time on the court at the power forward position, 42.5% from three last season, 44.1% from three this season, and 44+% from three in the catch and shoot in 2022. So Cameron Johnson, man, he's a dude that is a two-way wing, can do a little bit of everything, glue together some of the bad parts of this Sixers roster. Sign me up for Cam Johnson.
And he's been injured most of the year for about 2 months, so he just got back off the injury. He's fresh, you know what I mean, as far as like gameplay, I would say. Expiring contract, so if he doesn't work out, cap space for next year. And just last night, he dropped 24 against the Hornets. So I'm with you, man. Go get Cam Johnson. I would like that trade probably a little better. And then if it doesn't work out, he moves on. But he was he, third in the running for sixth man of the year, I think, last year.
Yeah, he's good.
What a great move that would be.
Absolutely.
Let's move into some trivia. And we got to get a graphic. I think we'll work on a graphic to be like trivia time or some thing going. But Party on Broad's a work in progress here with me and Dodge. We're getting it together. But my trivia, it's pretty intense, okay? So I'm going to give the answer quickly. Purdy will be the 5th rookie quarterback to start in a championship game, in a rookie season. Who are the other 4? And I'm going to give you a few hints, okay? It's within the last 25 years, okay? So it's not some old stuff. 3 in the AFC, 1 in the NFC.
All right, let's go Tom Brady.
Nope.
Ben Roethlisberger.
Bingo. There's the first one.
Oh, my God.
You got, and there's another one I'll give hints along the way. Another one in the same division as Ben Roethlisberger.
I'm drawing a blank. Who is it?
Joe Flacco.
Joe.
AFC North. I was surprised with Flacco. Okay, well, let's see if we got someone guessing here. Ben, good one, Derp. Oh, you're a Steelers fan. Of course you know that. Burrow, Mahomes. Nope. The other 2 are going to be very surprising, okay? And one you're going to be like, oh, man, I didn't think of that. And the other one, I'm going to tell you the team, and you'll probably still won't get it. So the other hint is AFC East. And I'll say, I'll give another hint. Butt fumble.
No way.
Yes.
No way.
His rookie year, he started in the AFC Championship game. Mark Sanchez.
Ridiculous. I never would have guessed that. That's awesome.
And the final one, we go to the AFC South. And I'm just going to tell you the team because I still don't think you'll get it. Remember, it's within the last 25 years.
Okay.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Who was that guy? It was I'm Googling it.
Sanchez. Wow. I was so surprised when I heard this. What's up, Pat? We got trivia going right now.
I don't know. Who is it?
Sean King.
Screw that. I never would have guessed that.
When I heard it, I actually guessed Aaron Brooks. I was kind of close for the Saints. But, Sean King. So
it's a good one. That's a good one.
Brock Purdy will be the 5th. And another fun fact, all 4 of those quarterbacks lost.
Wow. I love that too.
So speaking of Brock Purdy, it's that time, baby. Eagles, 49ers. Let me change our background here. Let's meet the 49ers first. Dives, how's this game? How do the Eagles match up in this game?
I mean, you've got two heavyweights going at each other. I mean, you look at strength versus strength. You talk about one of the best rushing offenses in the NFL versus the best rushing defense in the NFL. There's so many areas that are elite versus elite. You talk about turnover differential. The Niners are number 1. I think the Eagles are number 3. They're great at protecting the football. They're great offenses. It's a really great matchup. Arguably the top 2 most talented teams in the NFC. It's a great matchup. It starts with Brock Purdy and kind of what to expect there. You look at Brock Purdy, for me, it starts and ends with taking out the middle area of the football field. Brock Purdy lives and dies with that area of the football field. He's got a 103.2 quarterback rating, 72+% completion percentage. You look at George Kittle, man. He leads the team in slot percentage, 171 slot routes this season. You look at kind of the Eagles' base defense, which is typically like a 5-2-4, and they're going to get tested. You look at Kaiser White, TJ Edwards, Reed Blankenship. These are all guys that are going to be tested. So step 1 for the Eagles is taking away Kittle and Purdy in that middle area of the field. 57% plus of Purdy's pass attempts or completions were in that middle area of the field. So that's step 1.
And if you saw the Giants, that was their initial game plan, was to attack the middle of the field, and it was there. So I think that is a big concern. I agree, Dives. Until Gannon set Reed Blankenship up to jump another route, quite like he did with Aaron Rodgers, they picked the ball off, and the Eagles kind of just ran away with it at that point. The middle of the field is going to be an issue. You're going to stop McCaffrey, bring pressure to Purdy. The question for your Eagles will be containing Debo and Kittle. Debo, Kittle, I know you can't stop one other, and Elijah Mitchell's in there as well. I think this game is going to be a very defensive-heavy game, and it's going to come down to Trent Williams matched up against whoever's rushing the passer off the edge, whether it's Hassan Reddick, Sweat, Brandon Graham, if they move him around. Sometimes they'll throw Cox out there just to get a new look, and I think tricking him up is probably a game plan to use. What I also will say is I think this is a big Jonathan Gannon game because everyone wants to see the Jim Johnson stuff. It's not going to happen. It's never going to happen. But Kyle Shanahan is a genius mentally and does a lot of pre-motion sets that tries to trigger the defense to think he's doing one thing. They get in a new set, and then he runs motion the other way, jumping around. If Gannon can outsmart Shanahan, which his strength is his smarts, I think that'll bode well for the Eagles. I also think this 49er D is pretty damn good, and I'm very concerned with their linebackers. We're not playing with linebackers that are just, willy-nilly. They're going to hit us. There's no running in the Giants game where you just sped off a tackle for an extra 10 yards because they're not ready to tackle. Fred Warner and Greenlaw, they're going to hit you. And their defensive line ain't terrible either. Joey Bosa, they have active safeties. I think this is going to be a big game. It's going to come down to turnovers. And I'm happy to tell you, Brock Purdy, he statistically, he doesn't throw many turnovers, but I've seen quite a few throws, dropped interceptions that Dak got away with for a long time in his career, and Wentz did as well, that I think might get picked off on Sunday.
Yep, I love it. And I love that you brought up Fred Warner because in fact, I think I spelled his last name wrong. But anyway, here's a poll I put up a few days ago. And for me, it's Fred Warner. Fred Warner versus Hurts in an RPO offense is going to be a hell of a match. Fred Warner and what he does for the Niners, what he does dropping back into coverage. The dude is elite, man. He's arguably the best linebacker in football and by a wide margin. You look at him and how good he was last weekend in coverage. He was targeted 5 times. He allowed just 2 receptions for 15 yards. So far through this postseason. He's got a passer rating allowed of 50.7, man. He also had a huge interception. Man. Fred Warner, for me, I think is in the way that bread and butter of the Eagles offense, that RPO that includes making defenses guess wrong more often than not, is going to be so fun to watch.
Anthony, 49ers faithful. As a Niners fan, this is the first game I'm actually worried about. These are definitely the best, and the winner will win the Super Bowl. I like what you're saying.
One game at a time.
Appreciate you listening too. I would wish you luck, but that would be a bold-faced lie. So I appreciate you listening though, and you guys are a good team. We've been saying it all year on here, on all the Painted Lines and Edge of Philly shows, that the team we've been scared of, even when Garoppolo was QB, the team we were worried about was the 49ers. I wanted the Cowboys. I didn't want the 49ers.
I agree.
Your defense is good, man, and your offensive coordinator is he's smart, man. He's just so with it, dude. It don't matter who the quarterback is.
Yeah, I think the advantage is on the line, though. Trent Williams is terrific, but Brandon Graham, Hassan Reddick versus Mike McGlinchey could be a huge advantage for the Eagles. I think the Eagles' offensive line is just much better than the Niners' defensive line, and vice versa. So that's what I'm looking at. The way the Eagles were able to come out and just cement their will on the New York Giants made many of those key players, especially on the interior defensive line for the Giants, completely gone. They just wiped them out. If the Eagles' interior offensive line plays as well as they did against the New York Giants, I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling really good.
I'm feeling good as well. I don't feel as good. I was very confident with that Giants game. All right.
Before we get into this, I want to give you a freaking shout out for predicting the 38-7 ass whooping that the Giants got last week. Because I was not that case. I was like a 23-20 win for the Eagles. You were all in, and you nailed it, man. You absolutely nailed it.
I just knew that roster stunk. I'm not tooting my own horn here, but I just knew that last game of the year was nothing. Hurts was hurt. They had their backups. We paid down. I just knew they suck. They stink. There's no one on that roster that gets me scared. So that's why I was like that. They do have great coaching, but it ain't going to be that case this week at all. So I'll go first. Prediction time. The Eagles are 2.5-point favorites, which I think is kind of right. It's basically a pick 'em. It's a home game. I think it's going to come down to the end. I really do. It's going to be back and forth. Not quite low scoring, but low enough. And not going to be not one of these high scoring games. It's going to come down to Elliott. I'm going to be there, and I hope it's in my end zone because I'm up in the higher levels, the nosebleeds almost, and I hope it's in my end zone. But Elliott hits the game winner, 24-23 with 5 seconds to go, and the Eagles are heading to the Super Bowl.
I've got chills, man. I got goosebumps on my arms. That's insane. Derpy says your run game also needs to be consistent, strong off the hook. I'm very interested in how the Niners will handle Goddard if A.J. Brown plays because Hurts has so many weapons. Absolutely, man. What Dallas Goedert does for the middle of the field, man, is just he only had 4 or 5 catches against the Giants, man. But just he is such a mismatch in that middle area of the field, man. I don't know if the Niners will have an answer for that dude. Goddard is a top 3 tight end in my opinion. But we cannot be more opposite. I said close game. You said blowout against the Giants. I'm throwing it in reverse here. I'm going Eagles win 31-13 over the San Francisco 49ers. This screams all about Hassan Reddick having a massive game. I think the defensive line, their 4-man rush, is going to be absolutely dominant. I am not buying the Brock Purdy tea leaves, the hype here. I think his luck stops on Sunday against the Eagles. This Eagles team is just too locked in. There is no way this veteran Eagles team lets Brock Purdy beat them. I just think this is a different animal. And I think that this team shows up from the jump and takes them out. And you look at red zone offense versus red zone defense, two of the best, like I said. But at the end of the day, this Eagles offensive line will be too dominant for the San Francisco 49ers. And I expect Jalen Hurts to just have an efficient game and let his playmakers do the talking. So I'm feeling really good. Way too good.
Derpy coming in 36-30 Eagles. I don't like when too many people pick the Eagles. I think we got another one coming in. Oh, no.
Whoops,
Is
my
this
bad.
Eagles? Oh, my fault. Me and you were clicking the same buttons.
Go ahead.
Mitch, 28-21 Birds. All right. Just because the defense and Hurts is still young. 49ers defense. I'm concerned. I think the 49ers defense will slow us down. That's why I think it's close.
Yeah.
But I agree with you guys. Purdy train. That's going to. But hey, if you're Trey Lance, who are you rooting for? Because you're probably no longer a 49er if Brock Purdy goes to the Super Bowl. Like, what are they going to have a quarterback competition? That's like, what are you doing? I tweeted him first thing Monday morning too. I'm like, yo, I have some Eagles jerseys if you want to root for the Eagles because he's out.
Yeah, that link is going to be rocking, man. I think it was Debo or Ayuk or someone saying that Niners fans are louder than Eagles fans.
Debo, get the hell out of here, Debo.
I'm even going to go so far that like you can lock in a Niners turnover in the first quarter, in the first half. A big turnover. That's what Jonathan Gannon does. He gives you kind of what you want, but when the going gets tough, especially like 40, 30 yards in their own territory, man, he brings the pressure. He disguises his blitzes so well. I think Chauncey Gardner-Johnson in the slot definitely has a huge opportunity in this game. But my player of the game, I'm rolling on the Hassan Reddick train. I think he's just been lights out these last like 8-10 games, and I think he has a huge advantage in his favor. I think Hassan Reddick finishes with like 2-3 sacks and finally gets the national attention he deserves because he's arguably right up there with Defensive Player of the Year.
I like it. If I had to do a player of the game right now, I'm going to go A.J. Brown. He's under a lot of scrutiny. His attitude pisses me off. Actually, it's been pissing me off for quite some time with his not running routes and you're blowing a team out. You're pouting on the sidelines. Hate that stuff. But
how about that? McCarthy. All right.
We'll see. Maybe. I feel like they're playing little rest here. We'll see, though. But that's about it for today. Hopefully, we have more Eagles to talk about going to the Super Bowl next week. You can catch me and Chris Dives every week, 7 p.m., Party on Broad on the Edge of Philly Sports Network, as well as the Painted Lines Network. Please go to both those pages. Hit like, hit subscribe, share us out. Chris, anything else?
Go Birds, man. What a huge game Sunday. I'll be dropping my top 5 boomer bust prospects in the 2023 NFL Draft tomorrow. Got a lot to talk about there. But that's about it, man. Expect more Eagles mocks coming in the near future.
I agree. Go Birds, and we will see you next week.